Hi, I'm Sam Roberts from Roberts Geospatial Engineering. Today I'm going to use ProRaster to look at some meteorite craters all around the globe. So on the right hand side of the screen I have a mini map which shows the location of meteorite impacts. And on the left hand side I have my terrain map where we're going to actually look at the expression of those meteorites in the terrain. Terrain data is a combination of GEBCO, which I use for bathymetry, and Glow30, which I'm using for the onshore terrain. So it's 1 arc second, which is about 30 meter resolution, horizontal resolution onshore, and offshore I think it's 15 arc second or something. But we're only going to be looking at onshore expression. So there are other videos that will show you these craters and show you what they actually look like and so forth on the ground. We're just going to be looking at how they express themselves in the digital terrain. So we'll be looking at craters from the Earth Impact Database. This is just a small database that you can find on the web. It's quite old. The data is not particularly accurate. I think it's missing a number of craters, and it all needs to be updated. But we can use that to find the location of these meteor impacts and see what they look like on the ground. So we'll start off in Australia. So let's start down in South Australia. This one's called the Acraman crater. It's quite a large one. Go to distance tool. The distance across here is about 30 kilometers. And so we don't see an actual impact crater itself. We just see what's been taken out of the existing terrain. So there's kind of this hole in the terrain, and in the center there's a big salt lake now. So moving up north, if you visit Australia, the meteorite crater that you're most likely going to visit is near Alice Springs, and it's just on the way to Uluru. So if you're driving to Uluru, which is Ayers Rock, you might visit this tiny little meteorite crater on the way, and it's called Henbury. And there's just a little impact and a second little impact there. Really tiny, and when you're standing next to it, you really can't see much at all. The only interesting thing about that is that there's a drop toilet in the car park, and apparently some poor woman recently collapsed that toilet and fell into the pit. Really shocking. My wife's worst nightmare. It happened to somebody in the US recently too. This is Goss's Bluff, I think it's called. Another impact crater. You can see the sort of circular nature of it. We're not seeing the crater itself. Again, we're just seeing what's left behind. And there's this little mountain range left behind. Now, the nicest crater in Australia, if we go up here, just sort of south of the Kimberley, is the Wolf Creek crater. And so here we have Wolf Creek crater. Nice little expression of the crater. Push it to a 3D map. So that's what it looks like in 3D as an exaggerated view. There's a little ring in the center, but I think that's just a little ephemeral lake, so it's not an actual feature of the impact crater itself. But that's a Wolf Creek crater, and that's a beauty. Looking around elsewhere, what other ones actually have an expression? There's one up here, up near sort of Kakadu. We're just starting to see it there. So you can just see this sort of little ring of little peaks. If we push that across to 3D, really, if you were standing there, you'd have trouble seeing it, but you can see that little feature. Coming back out, I think this one here, again, we're looking at what's not there rather than what is there. So we've taken a big bite out of all this country rock and we've left with this circular feature, although there's no sort of remnants of the actual crater itself. I think this one you can see. Yes, here's something. This one, if you were standing in the middle of it, you've had absolutely no hope of seeing anything at all. but it is a tiny little hollowed out bowl. Here it is in 3D. You can just see that sort of little hollowed out bowl there. Highly exaggerated, very, very highly exaggerated vertical scale. So tiny little impact crater there. There are some larger ones around. Let's see. So this one, again, we're looking at the expression of what's not there. So we have this sort of little range coming through, and in the middle there's a big hole filled now with salt lakes. So there was quite a significant impact there. So that's about it for Australia. Let's go up and travel into India. So this one really sticks out. Beautiful circular little crater. And maybe there's another little impact just to the north of it. Let's push that into 3D. And there's our exaggerated view in 3D, showing how neat that little crater in India is. I'm going to come across now to Africa. And Africa is absolutely a happy hunting ground for impact craters. Here we are, way down in the south, and you can see this tiny little feature. Not very exciting, but you can see something. Coming up here to the west coast. That one is a beauty. That's a really nice little impact crater. Here it is in 3D. And then there's some large ones in southern Africa down here. So although you might not be able to see much, so this one, for example, we can't see much. Over here, you have this sort of large circular expression, but no actual crater. This one, you can actually see a little crater. What kind of size are we looking at here? It's about a kilometre across. Just a tiny little impact crater. What else can we see? Not much to see that one. I think there's one up here. Yes, this one's quite large. And again, what we're seeing is the expression on the existing country rock. So we have a range coming through here, and you can see this kind of eroded geology. And then there's a bloody great hole right in the middle. So that's our impact crater in there. Coming up into North Africa, this is where you really start to find all sorts of things. So firstly, we have a lake here, and we have these nice circular features all around that lake. Let's have a look at that in 3D. So that's what that one looks like. That's a good one. So come back to our key map or mini map. Coming up here, you know, there's a feature here which is not listed, but if that is not a meteorite impact, then I don't know what is. Then coming up here, we come to the Richard structure, which is not a meteorite impact. It's the location of Atlantis, apparently. So people tell me. Get on your meds, people. This is a little crater out to the south west of that meteorite impact, and in this part of the Sahara Desert, some of these things stick out so nicely that you don't even need to use the key map. Look at this one. She is an absolute beauty. There's what she looks like in 3D. So let's keep going up to the north. This one here, another nice little hole punched out of a local mountain range by an impact. right up here in the Sahara Desert. There's another nice little preserved crater. Hasn't been eroded away yet. Some of these other things I don't stick out quite so much. I mean, we're seeing some circular features there, but that's not a remnant of the crater itself. This one, yes, this is a little crater. There she is. Nice little crater right there. Let's push that into 3D. Probably need a bit more exaggeration on that. But that's what she looks like. What else can we find in North Africa? Going across here to the east. Some kind of circular remnant of a large impact there. Again, you can see this circular remnant of a large impact. Some ones up here that are smaller. Not much to see there. This one, well, that's a bit like the Goss Bluff one. It's just a remnant of, or modified base rock or bedrock rather than actual crater. And again, there, just some circular indications, but not an actual crater to see. Let's leave Africa, come across to North America. Of course, this one is the most famous one in the world, killed the dinosaurs. This is the Chicxulub crater. Impact was somewhere in here, and you can just see some circular sort of features there. I guess the most famous one in America is Meteor Crater. Here it is, and that's a beauty. Gotta like that one. And there she is, big hole in the ground. But in terms of the continental United States, that's really as good as it gets. I don't think there's a better one to see anywhere in the US. A lot of these things you go and look and there's just sort of nothing there. There are, I'd have to really search to find any that shows something sort of obvious. Nothing obvious there. I think this one you can see is a feature here again where we've taken a bite out of the bedrock and left a bit of a hole rather than an actual crater itself. But yeah, there's not much to see in the United States, but then going up into Canada, you can find all sorts of things. This is Sudbury here, but not much to see. This one's a nice one. 2 impact craters right there. Now just big lakes, and that's sort of a common theme. In Canada, they tend to make nice lakes rather than an actual visible impact crater. Over in Asia, pretty hard to find anything much in Asia. The impact craters are hard to see. Oh, this is a big one. This is up in Russia. Now we're getting some vertical squishing because we're just in a geographic coordinates. But that's your crater there. Quite a large impact, and you can just see the effect of it on the country rock. So I might leave it there. Thanks for watching.